It means that physically there is a real dismemberment of the body of Jamaica. Imagine living a life and trying to attain your complete potential without your torso, with just your hips and your legs moving around in this world. Or just your torso moving around and your head and your arms, but no legs and no hips. And that really is where we are as a people. But through this diaspora movement, it means that that body can be completely joined together and can be effective and can truly be empowered to meet its complete potential. And that you live here or that you may have been born here and not spent any time in Jamaica is no excuse, no reason for you to consider yourself separate or to be apart. Noelle spoke earlier about declaring herself Jamaican even though she's born in the United States, and she spoke about the heritage and the culture. And it really is about, this whole discussion, this whole movement really is about identity. So I'm going to take a page from Mr. Hill's book and tell you a little about myself. My mother's Jamaican. She and my father, who is Caribbean but not Jamaican, were part of that great Caribbean migration to the United Kingdom in the 50s and 60s. They met there. I was born in the United Kingdom. We moved to Jamaica when I was 4. We then later migrated to New York when I was 12. But always, though I was born in England, I always considered myself a Jamaican, and that has always been my identity. And I am a naturalized Jamaican as a result of my mother being Jamaican and me going through the process. But not only do I have that connection in terms of being born elsewhere, but having that connection to Jamaica and considering myself Jamaican, but I lived for a very long time in New York. I went to high school in New York. I went to college in New York. I went to grad school. I pursued at least 2 careers in New York and then eventually moved back to Jamaica because I wanted to do more than I was doing in New York, and I wanted to do it for Jamaica. And I've been fortunate enough to have been able to join government and to have risen to this post where I have the incredible and profound opportunity to represent Jamaica and to actually act as Jamaica outside of the country. I mean, it really is a very moving thing. I share that with you to let you know that if you have an interest in your motherland or in, the land from which your parents hail, which is Jamaica, if you want to make that connection, if you have a real interest in working on behalf of the country, there is nothing that is beyond you. There is nothing beyond you in terms of what you can do for Jamaica or accomplish for yourself. And as living proof of it, I want to encourage you to pursue those dreams. I know what it's like to live in the States. I remember when I was in high school, after being called coconut a couple of times, wow. I made it my business to absorb American pop culture, to be more American than any American I might meet, whether in my neighborhood of African Americans or in the outside wider world. I made it my business to be able to communicate in all the varied forms of American accents, whether it be in the wider world or in the African American vernacular in the ghetto. I made it my business to have it all, to the point where American friends didn't know that I was Jamaican until they might have accidentally heard me speaking to a Jamaican otherwise. And then, shock of all shocks, they discovered this thing. But what kept me grounded throughout my experience living here in the diaspora was the knowledge that I was Jamaican, and was my interest in maintaining my deepest friendships and relationships with Jamaicans who are going through the same experience. And I imagine for many of you, it is quite the same way. these days, rather than walking around with a Jamaican accent in my back pocket, I have the American accent in my back pocket. Can very well represent the country of Jamaica and speak with the twang. And I'm so proud of it. And I must tell you that it is a really interesting and fascinating thing to return to the United States, which I never ever expected to come back to. When I left here, I went to Jamaica. As far as I was concerned, you know, the U.S. was behind me, except for maybe the occasional vacation trip to some part of these 50 states. But it's quite interesting to come back here as a Jamaican representative, to not feel compelled to make myself understood by speaking in an American accent and speaking at a slower rate so that people will understand me. But in every moment of my living experience here, to live Jamaica and to see what the response is. And it truly is incredible. Jamaica experiences far more goodwill than any of us could possibly imagine. It's been a little while since I've been here now, and there are many, many events that I go to that don't have anything to do with the Jamaican community or the Caribbean community of that event, but provide an opportunity for me through the consulate to raise the profile of Jamaica. And there has never been a single occasion in the maybe 1,200 or 1,500 events that I've been to, where when people have discovered that I am Jamaican, they haven't come up to me gushing about our wonderful country. And we really need to take that message abroad, beyond this room, beyond this campus, beyond this community, that Jamaica is a fantastic place. But to improve upon whatever image it has, and to improve upon whatever reality Jamaica experiences, it requires the involvement of all of us who are part of the Jamaican body. You can't leave the half of it that exists on the island to fend for themselves. It really has to be a collaborative effort. And that empowers not only Jamaica at home, but it empowers you abroad. So this movement, you know, is about strengthening the links between you and Jamaica. It's about empowering you for your own benefit in this community. And it's about, through that collaborative effort, making Jamaica what it ought to be. And part of that is, for those of you who are resident here and have status beyond being students, to think seriously about taking the next step and applying for citizenship. You cannot lose your Jamaican citizenship unless the Governor General of Jamaica takes it from you. Plain and simple. So even if you apply in this country for citizenship and for some reason your passport is taken, you can always apply for another Jamaican passport. Your Jamaican citizenship cannot be revoked. And even in instances where persons have written into us relinquishing their Jamaican citizenship to the government of Jamaica, we still provide the option for them to reapply and to reestablish their citizenship. So always, you are Jamaican. But if you're going to be effective, and if you're also going to be protected in this strange land, you must be a citizen. To have a green card provides you no protection whatsoever. None. And of course, once you apply it, make sure that you register to vote, because you can leverage that vote not only for your benefit, your family's benefit, your community's benefit, but eventually, as a group, you can leverage that on behalf of Jamaica and the Caribbean. I'm so glad that you're all here. I look forward to seeing at least some of you participate in the Diaspora Conference in Jamaica. We do have an open application process for anyone who has an interest in attending the conference, which takes place on the 16th and 17th of June. You can submit an application to us for consideration. And whether you are there or not, I look forward to your earnest and devoted support to the diaspora movement and in helping Jamaica to achieve its full potential. God bless you, and God bless Jamaica.